Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the ProSource podcast, where I sit down with industry experts, brands, and trade professionals within the home improvement space. Today, I am joined by one of ProSource's very own Trade Pro members from ProSource of Clear Lake, Laurie Vaughn. She's the owner of Interiors by Design. Welcome to the podcast, Laurie. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
And today, I just want to learn a little bit about you, your business, how you got started in this industry that's ever changing and ever evolving, I feel like. So what first drew you into the world of interior design and remodeling? When did that first step start?
I have a college degree in interior design. I went to Stephen F. Austin State University in Nacogdoches, Texas. And I started wanting to do fashion design. My love is fabric. And so that's kind of what started it all. Is I've sewn my own clothes since I was a very young child. I made clothes for my dolls. I made pillows, bedding, all of that as I was growing up. And so that was kind of, okay, what direction do I go with that? And when I got to school, one of my big things was I didn't want to be, I wanted to have a social life and interact with other people and everything. So I was really not wanting to be in the home economics department. So I switched to interior design because I could take a business minor. So I got to be on all sides of campus instead of just in the home economics department.
That is very cool. You're not the first person or the first trade pro I have talked to that said they started in like fashion and then worked their way into interior design. I feel like that happens commonly. I didn't realize how common maybe that track was to switch over. But it makes sense.
There's a lot of very close things that you take. I mean, I did take a lot of classes that fashion design people took as well. But I think my biggest thing was wanting to be able to own my own business and do more than just like draw things or work at a retail establishment. So that was kind of it. With the business minor, I was able to kind of go in that direction. So kind of fit both
and still be creative, I'm sure too.
Correct.
You're hitting that creative need that you're probably looking for too. And I feel like fashion and remodeling a home, although they are very different practices, there's the creative elements, the design elements that flow between each are kind of the same principles. I feel like you want something that's cohesive. You want something that feels like your own personal style, isn't it? So I think it's one of the things.
One of the things I think I'm most proud of with working and working with my clients is I try really hard to get them to imprint themselves in the design as well as me. I can do anything, for someone, but when they interact with me and I can get them to put their imprint on it, it's so much better. It's so much than if I just came in and cookie cuttered it, and put it in. So I try and say, to each client, your home is you. Let's make it what you want it to be. It doesn't have to look like something on TV or, in a magazine. It can be made for you.
Do you feel that your clients are very excited when they hear that direction that you want to go into of the close collaboration and trying to get, them to kind of imprint their own style and feel and personal touch to their space?
I think so. I do have some who say, I don't have a creative bone in my body. What, we need, and they might need more guidance to pull it out. But I have found most everybody will have what I call a given. And it's something that means a lot to them, or, it might be a chair, it might be a fabric or a quilt or a picture, but there's usually something that somebody likes. And I can use that then to create the room and the design and work with them and say, see, you had this, you just didn't know it.
Yeah, no, that's very cool. And we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves here. I wanted to learn about how you started your company. Like, what did that process look like? Was it easy? I'm sure it wasn't easy, but like, what were some of those obstacles you had to jump over to get to the place you're at now? I'm interested to hear about that.
So I started out working for other people. Obviously, design is very hard. There's a lot of different ways you can go. So you can go architectural and work for architectural firms, and you tend to start out very design graphics, drawings and things like that. So, and that was not my interest at all. Like I said, fabric and those kinds of things. Being part of the creative part was really my interest. So I started with interior design firms, and there's many different ways. There's ones that are huge that have a lot of designers, and I've always worked for rather small firms when I first got started. So that kind of gave me my background, and I learned from the other designers that were there. And so I did that for several years. And then I actually went through a divorce and came back to Texas. I had been away from Texas, and I came back and I was like, you know what? I don't want to work for anybody anymore.
Yeah.
Mainly because you give so much of your money to them when in my mind, it's all of my creative juices that are going into it,
It's true.
So it was slow. Interior design, really, like a lot of sales companies, it's word of mouth. It's one person saying, oh, I used Laurie. She was great. She did my bedroom. I used Interiors by Design. They did my kitchen, and they did so well. And I was so appreciative of all the work they did. So it's just one person telling the next person, and so on. And so I started out very small, and I've stayed small. One of the big things I learned working for other designers was they tended to grow too large too fast.
Yeah.
And I was like,
quality over quantity.
Correct. Take the lesson. See it. And I've had, in fact, my own son has like, Mom, just hire some more designers. Just to, you can grow, you can make it bigger. And that's just never interested me. Number one, I am kind of a control freak. So I like I like my clients. I like having control over what's going on.
Yeah. You like to see the whole process. Yeah.
Yes. And so I've just stayed small. I've just learned we do have a cash flow. It's hard. We pay for a lot of things up front. Before the job even starts, you're paying for materials and products and things. So you have a kind of a little bit of a cash flow issue. And so once you start to have more than one client, you that kind of balances itself out. But that's always been the biggest issue, is when you grow too fast, then the cash flow becomes the problem. And I've had, let's see, I can count 3 of the companies I work for that are no longer in business. So,
wow.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I feel like that probably is a big problem, is people just getting in over their head with clients and not having the resources. So then the quality drops. Whereas if someone's working with you, then that's very special to not just them, but you as well. You're going to be able to dedicate more of your time to them and make their space look even better than probably someone that has way too many clients to work with.
I hope so. I try to be very, what do you call it? I try to stay focused on what the need of the client is. One of the other things that I try really hard to, and this was hard when you first get started, you have to have people to do the work for you. So like a painter, a person who sews your draperies and your pillows and does the reupholstery and all of that. So that all takes time to grow those relationships and have those people behind you. I think that's what sells Interiors by Design a lot. Is I tell people I've been with most of my people for a very long time, at least 10 years. So when they're coming in the door, it's someone I know, I've vetted, I've worked with. That doesn't guarantee 100% perfect.
Some things, there's things you cannot control, right?
Correct. And design is definitely one of those. When you get into some, remodeling and homes and stuff, I mean, there's all kinds of issues that can arise. But I feel like that gives comfort to people. These are people I know. These are people I feel comfortable coming into your home, into your family's life, because we're there. If we do a remodel of a bathroom or a kitchen, we may be there for 4 to 6 weeks or longer. It just depends on, what the project is. So that's a long time to have people coming and going from your house. So we like to be friendly. And
I completely agree. And I was looking on your website prior to this podcast, and you do have a lot of great reviews for your business as well. When it comes to building that trust and rapport, you talked about, not having too many clients is one thing, having a network of either other pros or other people that you work with to execute those designs, I feel like helps them make them feel comfortable. But when it comes to like the process of them actually starting the remodel and then going through that, oh, it is going to be 4 to 6 weeks. Probably some people don't think it's going to take that long, or maybe they think it takes longer. They just have no idea. What is your, how do you help them like narrow down their ideas and make them feel confident about starting the remodeling process?
Prioritizing, number one. So when I first meet with them, that's what we do. We sit down, we talk through the project, and we work through what their likes, dislikes, what their expectations are, and just kind of get to a priority list of what we're going to focus on for the next couple of weeks before we start the project. Um, it's hard because there is HGTV, there's all the home channels on TV. I know we talk about it at ProSource all the time with my rep there, my account rep, Bridget. We talk about it all the time, that people have sometimes very unrealistic expectations of how the job's going to go.
Oh, I'm
So,
sure.
that's part of explaining when you start with them and work with them. I have had various clients that know nothing, and I've had clients who have definitely done it before and have the knowledge of what's going to happen. It's just a process of explaining as you go, and that's what I try really hard to do. It's why a lot of times I tell people, why would you have an interior designer on this job? It's for that. It's to help them through each phase as you go through it, to understand. I'm pretty much a liaison between the workers and the client and ProSource. As far as like, I make sure everything's scheduled. I make sure everything gets from ProSource to the job site, so the people have to understand how all that's happening. Some people do it well and some people don't. And sometimes I don't do so well. If it gets busy and I might forget, oh my gosh, I should have told them that was happening this week and I forgot.
Yeah.
So,
but that's like, I mean, everyone's human, right? And I think with any creative process, whether it's, we were talking about fashion, I'm sure this happens in the fashion world too. Like anything creative, things can change so rapidly. And then you also got to think of the technical parts of it, shipping and freight, like bringing outside materials into a project. Sometimes there's shipping delays. So I agree with you. I think being upfront about it in the beginning, like, hey, this is maybe a tentative schedule, but things could happen, this could shift. That way you're laying out that expectation for them before they're like frantically freaking out about it.
A lot of times, depending on how old the house is, whatever we're working on, we open up those walls and it's like, whoops, wow, okay. And
it's like a surprise.
Bathrooms are notorious. We find leaks. We find that it had been leaking for a long time, and so then wood is rotted and wood is damaged. So you've got to do a little bit more. We try to be very transparent from the beginning. I like my clients, to question. I like them to speak up and say, well, I didn't understand that part. Tell me again.
Yeah.
Because I have found in working, because I've been in fact, next year, Interiors by Design will be 30 years old. I try and tell them and try and be very transparent from the beginning. Okay, this is what our costs are. They get a turnkey proposal with materials and everything. And I try to be very upfront and say, this is how it's supposed to go. There's the way it's good. We're going to try and make it go this way. But as soon as we open up a wall, if there's a leak, we obviously, you have to take care of that issue before you can move forward. So I try to be very open with them, and we stop whatever we're doing. We talk to people and tell them this has happened. This is how we usually come up with a solution is the best thing. Now I remember where I was going with that is I have learned over the 30 years, if you try and hide something from them or not tell them and just go, comes back, bites you back. So I usually try and say, I'm sorry this happened. This is where we are. We have a leak. We have to get that taken care of. And most everybody, I think people are very appreciative when you're upfront and don't try to cover anything up or saying, because then they can trust you and they feel like you're on their side.
Exactly.
It's never worked to not tell people what's going on, including like, shipping. Nope, your tile didn't come today. It's not coming till next week. All those little things, just be upfront with them. And that's the best policy.
Absolutely. And so if someone's thinking about doing a remodel and before they even reach out to you or any trade pro, do you have any tips or suggestions to homeowners or anyone, maybe even in the commercial space too, that they should maybe check off mentally before even inquiring about remodeling a space?
Absolutely. Just looking around. What is it you want to do? Like if you're just take, for instance, a kitchen remodel. We want to gut our kitchen. Have you looked at cabinets? Have you gone out and looked at the possibilities? Do I want wood color? Do I want painted? What kind of countertops? There's different, there's tons of different kinds of fabrications now.
Yeah.
Do I want a tile backsplash? Do I want, there's, what do I want?
Hmm.
It is so much harder for me to come in when somebody says, well, I don't know what I want. I just know I want different. It's so hard to figure that out.
Yeah,
Figure it
that
out.
can mean so many things.
It can. And our world is full of choices. I
Yeah.
can't remember how many there are at ProSource, just cabinets alone. I
Oh,
think there's 5 or 6 different categories, of
yeah.
cabinets on levels and brands and types of it.
Yep.
And then within that, you have, wood or stained or what. And then you have, door fronts. Oh, there's 15 different kinds, so it is. If people can go out and at least,
Pinterest is great too.
yes, Pinterest,
Yeah.
House, all those. Actually, now you can Google a lot of things, and all of that comes up. Pinterest will come up, and everything will
Yep.
start coming up. So you can look, just say Google kitchen cabinets, and all
Yeah.
those little things will come up. So yes, if you can make yourself aware of what's out there, and it kind of helps
At
in
least
that
to
process.
start.
It gets you
Absolutely.
started and gets you thinking. If you don't, I mean, as an interior designer, I know I have also done that for people so that if they haven't had the opportunity or they're not real
Gotcha.
sure, I will go on Pinterest or I will go to, ProSource and get their catalog, and say, okay, here's are some of your choices. And I mean, that's part of what I do as well. It's just a little bit better if you have more of an idea
Yeah.
of the direction you want to go.
That's like the funnest part for me. I'm not even remodeling anything and I like doing that
I know,
just for
but
fun, just going
some
on
people
there.
do. Some people love it.
I know.
I have others that don't. So
Yeah.
they
No, I'm
they
like way
rely on
ahead
me.
of I'm like in 2040, this is how I want my kitchen to look when I get to that point. So it's interesting. Some people just do not think about that. Is there a recent project that you've done or one that you're working on maybe even right now that stands out to you? That's your favorite?
There's a couple. I did one that was a kitchen remodel, and I had come up with the idea of adding beams. It had a big, huge vaulted ceiling, and it was just like this blank walls, and then it had kind of a half moon window. And we came in and we added beams and we redid countertops back, everything. And it just came out as expected, which
Oh, cool.
doesn't always happen. And
Yeah.
it was really, really pretty. Client was totally happy. And it just was a fun job that worked. The client was fun to work with. All the guys that were working on the job were fun. And so it ended up really good. Another one I did a very interesting, we took, I think it was a closet under a stairs, and
Mm.
we turned it into a wine bar. And
Oh,
it's fun. We did black and white and gold tiles, that from ProSource, with, I don't remember where we got the wine cabinets from, but, anyway, it was just it wasn't like a big, huge job, but it was just fun, just something different.
unique,
And we used really
probably.
unique
Yeah.
materials on it. So it just ended up being a lot of fun. And the client's fun. And I've worked with them again since then. So that's
Oh,
always
cool.
always
Was
fun.
that your first project with them?
In that house, I had worked
Okay.
with them in a couple other houses,
Okay.
and that it was the first project we did in that particular house. Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine that kind of job is really fun for you because it's not like you get to do that all the time. Probably usually it's like a bathroom or a full kitchen,
Hmm.
but something like that,
Right.
specifically underneath the stairs, turning a closet into a completely different space, sounds really exciting.
I love that because it was so
Mm.
unique. It was unique to their house. and they went with it. When we first started
Mm-hmm.
planning, we had kind of just some small, just small ideas, I would say, and they just grew
Yeah,
and they became huge and more unique, and it's wonderful. Yeah. Yeah. So
that's so cool.
and those are the fun little projects that you can do. Sometimes the big projects you get so um bogged down with choices and selections and tile and more tile, and so
Yeah.
it's fun to just have a little time to do something unique and small. Hmm.
Do you find that those specific niche projects, challenge you at all, or do you just feel really confident and open with them, or is there kind of a
um
balance?
Kind of a balance. I mean, it was challenging in that we were using a tile that had metal and tile, so that's always a challenge when
Oh,
you're cutting and the actual process of putting it in. It was one of
yeah.
the first times we had my at least my tile guy had done that material, so that was challenging. I think those though I get so excited about it that it's not
You feel
stressful.
very motivated and
Yes,
yeah,
because you're excited, you're moving, it's creative, and you're like, "Oh, I wanna see this next. Come on, hurry up, put the tile in." Where some of the other ones are so done by rote, that it's a shower,
mhm,
we're putting the tile in, we're putting a niche in, so those get done every single time we do a shower. So it's
yeah,
a little bit it gets you out of that rut of doing the showers and the kitchen countertops and backsplashes, to do
for
something
sure.
unique like that.
Are there any current trends or, designs right now that you are really loving that are maybe trendy that you don't know if they're gonna be here in a few years, but for right now, you're just really gravitating towards them?
I try not to be too trendy. I do try to be
Yeah,
unique. I like to be
gotcha.
creative and unique, but not too trendy because, like colors change periodically.
Yep.
Those are a little bit easier to work with. I'm trying to think if there's anything that people, tile size is the thing that has driven me crazy.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
when I first started in design, we were just moving into the 12 by 12s. That was like the big thing. Like when the houses were being built, 12 by 12s. And then I've been, like I said, 30 years now. The tiles, I mean, they've gone from 12 by 12 to 18 by 18 to 12 by 24s. And now we have 24 by 24 and 30 by 60.
Yeah.
So that's, that
Even
is
for hardwood
where
too, I feel like the planks have just been getting larger and larger, it seems
longer and
like.
longer. So
Mhm.
that's where I say, do what you want to do.
Yeah. There's
If
no wrong
you
way,
love it,
right?
go for it.
Yeah.
We'll figure out a way to install it and get it done. But don't, think you have to have that. I mean, tile is one of the things that's the most durable over the years. Like people always ask me, what can I put in that's going to stay nice looking the longest? Tile is one of those.
Yeah.
And, so it's hard. It's hard for us to rip it out when somebody says, well, it's a 12 by 12. We've got to have 12 by 24s, or we've got to have this. And I'm like, oh, are you sure you want to rip it out? And that's one of the
Yeah.
hardest things because people see trendy and see, this is what's being sold. This is what's in the stores. Um, and then they think that when they go home that theirs is wrong. And it's not really wrong. It's just, we've changed. We've updated.
Yeah. Yeah, and you kinda wanna stay timeless too, right? Because 'Cause you're making a
Hmm.
huge investment. Um,
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
I
Huge
agree
thing.
with the being careful with the trends. You wanna look at the
Hmm.
long term.
Say one of the things which, the smaller things like a backsplash or
Yeah.
paint or something like that,
Mhm.
those smaller things, be trendy. Do whatever you want,
Yeah,
have fun with those because they're not huge. But like with your kitchen cabinets,
that's a good
timeless
point.
is important. Yes.
And you can always accessorize those countertops with,
Hmm.
different plants or, anything to just add a little color if you're wanting to experiment with the trends, right, to your
Absolutely.
space. That's
Absolutely.
really easy to change in and out.
Hmm.
But I feel like our conversation today has been great for especially, other trade pros that are looking to be in a position of a designer of a designed owned business for 30 years. I'm sure that's many people's goals. But also homeowners that are wondering their next steps on like, okay, I want to remodel my space, but it seems very overwhelming. This episode, I feel like would serve them greatly. So I appreciate you giving some of the background insights from what you do, because it probably helps them feel a little bit easier with moving into that process. Um, Before we get off, I have a couple more questions.
Sure.
I wanted to know a little bit about your collaboration with ProSource of Clear Lake, and how did you first get involved into that partnership with them, or how long have you been with ProSource?
It's been
Yeah,
a very
for a
long time.
while.
I want to say at least 15 years,
Wow.
maybe longer. I started with them because I did my business has changed over time. I did start out at the beginning doing a lot of fabric, reupholstering, draperies, because that was my love, and had a painter. Did a lot of painting and wallpapering. Hadn't done that much remodeling, and
Gotcha.
then as the need arose, I kind of changed and progressed, grew myself, and I was like, okay, we can try it. So then we got into doing countertops and backsplashes, and flooring, a little bit of flooring. And so I needed a source. And so I think it was a builder who pointed me towards ProSource and said, "Go try there. They have a lot of everything." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And that he said, "Oh, they have you can buy different brands all from in the one place." I was like, "Oh, okay." So that's kind of what started me. Is my client drove me to need these things, and I will tell you that's been my main source since then. Is I can bring a client in, we can pull together a whole kitchen in one place. I don't have to go to store after store after store. It's one spot. And they have always worked with me because my clientele is, I have some that don't want to spend any money, and I have some that want to spend a lot. So they have those varying price ranges and quality. And, I can show the client when I'm there, this is the difference. This is a high
Yeah.
end carpet, and this is a low end carpet, and this is in the middle, and these are the things we can do. Which do you prefer? This is the price. It really, that's how it's grown. And I just,
Yeah.
even as my account reps have changed, which I have Bridget says, now how many have you had lately? Um, I can't tell you how many I've been through, but I've stayed because of that source. It's
It's great.
for me to be able to bring my client there and have them see all those different lines in one place. It's just priceless to me. It saves my feet from having
No,
to
for
go
sure.
to all those different places and look. So,
That is awesome. Thank you for sharing all that. I like to always ask, just to, because I have a lot of different trade pros that come on here, and or a few, and it ranges from, oh, I've been with ProSource for a year or two, but then I
mhm.
also talk to people in your position that have been in the industry for a longer time, and their partnership with ProSource has been even longer. So that's
Yeah.
really impressive and cool to hear.
I can add that one of the
Yeah,
things too that I said it earlier, when you have to bring people into people's houses and having them vetted, and that's another thing with ProSources. I have that relationship developed. So when an issue does arise, I really feel like they have my back. Where if you've only been with someone a year or 6 months or whatever, you don't have that loyalty, you don't have that
yeah,
trust developed. So that's another thing that's,
exactly.
yeah.
No, that's a great point. And we talked about at the beginning of the episode, that you've debated, maybe you didn't debate this, but you said, I think your son was like, you can get bigger and hire more
hmm
designers, and you can make it a full, like, huge business, but you've kind of liked where you're at here, and you feel kind of
hmm
content with where you're at. Are there any goals or future plans that you have to change your business at all, or do you see anything, I guess, affecting the way you run your business in the next 5 to 10 years? You
Um,
looking ahead?
I think the only thing, like something that happened this summer, is we ended up having three projects running at the same time. And that was really, really difficult for my team, for me, for,
Yeah.
everything that was going on. So I think going forward, we learned a big lesson. Yeah, it's great to have the business, but maybe, it
Is it worth
has
it?
its own set of problems. So
Yeah.
I think we'll, in the future, as we go forward, really focusing on what our goal is, which is to treat each client independently and well. So I think that's going forward, that's what we want to continue to do, is focus on each job, and maybe slow down a little bit where it doesn't all have to happen at the same time.
Yeah.
That just, it was just product arrived at a time, clients don't like waiting. And so it ended up being okay. But that was the thing, that it was just really, really hard. And you don't feel like you're giving your client just the time, like that,
the attention, the full attention.
Thank you. That's the word, to give them the attention. So I like to do, perfect for me is a big job with 2 or 3 small jobs going. So that's kind of where we are right now. And that's I feel like I can give my clients the attention they need with staying that. So that's the goal, to keep them happy and keep having the next one.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank
Laurie.
you. And I'm so glad we finally got to do it.
Thank you for joining us today on the ProSource podcast. Please like and subscribe to us wherever you get your podcast. Also, follow us on social media, check out our website at ProSourceWholesale.com, and visit your local ProSource Wholesale showroom for all of your home remodeling needs.